Worm, prepare yourself. Damn Saiyan.
I hated and loved the fact that Toppo bodied Frieza in the newest episode of Dragon Ball Super. Toppo finally releasing his hidden God of Destruction energy decides to take on Golden Frieza and wins. Now, I hated this because Frieza really hasn't done as much as I would have liked him to in the Tournament of Power, and I was really hoping to see him and Goku face off against Jiren at the very end, thinking that True Golden Frieza was a lot more powerful than I thought, at least closer to a God of Destruction than any of the other forms, and even Blue. Honestly, I was thinking that, and it doesn't seem like that's the case, and that actually has me a little bit bummed out. But that is also the reason that I love this episode, and I love the fact that he did get bodied, because finally, for the first time in a long time, especially with all the inconsistencies we had in the last episode, we have a gauge of where to level out power and where these characters stand on when it comes to facing a God of Destruction. In all terms and purposes, Toppo is a God of Destruction in this episode. He's got the aura of God of Destruction. If anything, he's a God of Destruction on steroids. Not only does his physique change, but he also gets God of Destruction aura around him that protects him from all attacks. And so when he bodies Frieza, who is a character that we've known to be on a very similar level to Super Saiyan Blue, it showcases exactly where these characters fit when it comes to power scaling in the Tournament of Power, and I cannot wait to see where VNJ Reviews adds Toppo onto their most accurate power level scale. And if you guys don't know who those YouTubers are, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description below so you guys can go ahead and check out their power level scaling, which I think, in my opinion, is the most accurate that I've seen in the community. Frieza thinks that he can manipulate the God of Destruction Hakai energy, but that is not the case, seeing as how he was hit with a full frontal Hakai energy blast and was completely blown out of true golden form and completely and severely injured. When he was facing off against the Universe 9 assassins who had the Hakai energy, it was a very small amount of Hakai energy, and I believe that probably that God of Destruction thought that that would be enough to take out Goku and Frieza, and that doesn't seem to be the case. But the energy that Toppo sent out, that is true Hakai energy, and that was way too much for Frieza to handle, which I really like that fact, because it does get a little confusing when you see him manipulate Hakai energy in one episode and not be able to do it in this episode. But the size of it, the strength of it, it all has to take into effect when you're trying to calculate exactly how strong these characters are. 17 is definitely the MVP of this episode, even though Frieza did help out and had a couple of shining moments, including getting his head almost squished in an almost Dragon Ball Z style fashion. 17 held his own for essentially being a lot weaker than I thought he would be. Honestly, I thought he was very similar to Golden Frieza levels, if not a little bit lower, but it honestly seems like he's a lot lower, but he's just extremely fast and has infinite energy. So what makes it really awesome is at the very end when he's doing his Ki Blast attack at Toppo and Toppo responds with his own Hakai Blast, I want to see exactly how that power struggle or beam struggle plays out in the next episode. As far as Toppo's transformation, it definitely was awe-inspiring. I cannot wait to play as this character. Hopefully either we have this version of Toppo in Dragon Ball FighterZ or Dragon Ball FighterZ 2, or we get this version of Toppo as, like, say, his finisher, because that looked amazing. He looked awesome, and I love the way that he kind of just threw out justice and decided to, go all out God of Destruction. And this is honestly where the episode kind of misses a mark for me, and it's not the episode's fault. It's the fact that they're rushing toward the end of the Tournament of Power and the end of Dragon Ball Super, and they haven't explained anything about really Toppo's backstory or Jiren's backstory, and I doubt that they're going to do that before the tournament ends or the Dragon Ball Super ends, unless it ends on a cliffhanger into a next possible series or the next season of Dragon Ball Super, if those are going to come out, because it would have been really good to see an entire episode of the conflicting nature of Toppo. Like, he's extremely into justice, but I mean, being a God of Destruction really isn't as justice as you would imagine it would be. Honestly, he's more villainous than anything when you're a God of Destruction, and he's essentially an extreme good guy, a Power Ranger, if you will. So it would have been cool to see an episode where he's struggling with his identity, and then it would have made more sense in this episode where Jiren's like, you finally made a choice, and have him go into all out with his God of Destruction energy, realizing that his base form wouldn't be a match against 17 and Golden Frieza, True Golden Frieza, fighting as one. So with the moment where he finally transforms would have meant a lot more if that were the case. But again, we have not gotten any backstory, and I highly doubt we will, because we only have, I think, 6 episodes left in Dragon Ball Super as a whole, as it stands right now, and we still have to get through so much. The next episode is having Vegeta do some sort of life-risking blow. It looks like he's about to face off against God of Destruction Toppo, who does have some weaknesses, I guess. He can't, he has to recharge his God of Destruction energy before he can let it out. It doesn't seem to be as fast. I mean, he did kind of close the gap between himself and Frieza relatively quickly. Frieza was injured though, but he couldn't catch 17. So I mean, I just think that it was because Frieza was injured and he couldn't move out of the way. Which great animation throughout this entire episode, and I cannot wait to see exactly what Vegeta does. Hopefully he goes out like a boss, because more than likely either the next episode or the following one after that is going to be his last. I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 6 out of 7 Dragon Balls. It was good, but again, that one thing where it would have been great to see some sort of backstory with Toppo, at least the conflicting nature of justice, or at least at all seeing that conflicting nature of justice, because we only really get to see Margarita say that, yeah, he's been training as a candidate for being a God of Destruction, but we don't really get to see him really state anything about it. And it would have been cool for him to state, I'm thinking of being a God of, I'm trained to be a God of Destruction, but I still don't know if I'm ready yet. Like some sort of conversation with Jiren or something. That would have been good setup for Jiren finally being like, you finally made a choice, which was a cool line. But again, it would have meant more if we had more context behind it. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments section below what you guys think of episode 125 of Dragon Ball Super. Let me know, guys. Drop me a like if you haven't already. If you like anything that I have to say, drop me a like and subscribe. This is going to be Dragon Ball Black signing off.